I'm going to show you how to make the lids fit very smooth, just like glass. I'll probably also glaze these little eye washers. Here's one that has been glazed. They're great. They're little kind of add-on things that you can test out your glaze ideas, your combination ideas on these, and then, sell them for a few dollars. So we're just going to take this one as an example. When you first get them out of the bisque kiln, if you twist them like that, you get a little bit of resistance. I mean, they fit perfectly if you go up and down. But in use and after they're glazed, people will put them on like that, and then they'll twist them around like so. You want it to twist easily. Well, there's something you can use that's going to make this a lot easier. It's valve grinding compound. You get it at the auto supply store, and you rinse this off with water. So if you'll put some, it's not expensive. I can't remember how much it cost. Let's see. So just kind of put some around the lid. Put the lid on. It's kind of like graphite with some kind of some vehicle that it's suspended in, that I don't know what it is. It could be water, silicone carbide, ethyl glycol, who knows. Anyway, it does rinse off and it doesn't show at all, even though it's black on here. I'll show you in a minute how it rinses off. So just twist it a bit. I mean, you could use sandpaper to get around this, but I don't like to use sandpaper because sometimes if I'm using sandpaper, I will accidentally alter something around here. Maybe I'll take down the edge of that or knock something off, and I don't want to do that. Maybe I didn't get enough of that in there. Let's put some on the inside. Yeah, that feels good. So that's just going to smoothly slide around. Let me rinse that off. I'm going to take you over here to the sink. Oh, nearly dropped it. I always suggest doing this before you glaze it or anything, or before you wax it, because you're going to get it wet after you do this, and you're going to have to let them dry. And so if it has wax on it, it may take longer for the thing to dry down around the wax. Plus, if you do drop it in the sink and break it, you don't want to have wasted the effort to wax it or glaze it before you do this, or fire it. Anything that I have that has a lid on it, this is how I make it nice and smooth. Okay, so this one doesn't have a registration dot, so we'll just put it on there. If it'll do this, if it'll go around this easily with that on there, it's going to do the same thing once it's glazed and so forth. This one seems to meet on the edge, so I'm going to put some on this actual edge. Perfect. Okay, so we'll rinse that off. And that, when you run you're just sanding off the little rough part. This is stoneware, so there's little bits of sand or kind of groggy stuff in there, in the clay. And it tends to show up a little bit after a bisque fire. So sometimes that's the reason that you need to sand off the tops of your mugs or tumblers or anything that people are going to put their mouths up to, because you don't want that to be rough as they're using it. So sandpaper does have its place. It's just that this valve grinding stuff is real easy. In the hot sunshine, ever since, well, for several hours, they were open when they were out there, but they've dried out now, and I just want to show you how easy the lids are. See, the lids just twirl around like that, and after they're fired, you'll hear even less grinding because, oh, let me try it this way. After they're fired with glaze and everything, that clay will tighten up some more, and you'll hear even less grinding than you hear now. These are really easy to turn now. So, here's one that we had out a while ago. That was just beautiful. Compound. This, when you first squirt this onto the pot, it's about what you would consider maybe 120 grit sandpaper. And as you grind it, it goes to 220. So this gets finer and finer as you're using it. That's why they use it on valves. And if it will grind steel, so it should grind little sand pebbles in stone. I'm going to wax both the inside and the outside of this. If you'll hold on, I'll go ahead and show you that on this video. So brush on wax, this water-based liquid wax. The reason is when you wax something like, well, you couldn't wax something like this without brushing it on, but if I dipped it down in the skillet, there's a chance that when I pull it out, I'd get one of those blurbs, little bubbles in there. And I don't want that on something like this. So normally, I would take the bottom and turn the lid upside down, put it in there, but that kind of wiggles. So I have a small chuck that I can use. I can take that away. Get rid of that. So I can line this up with the little lines that are on the banding wheel. That's going to be pretty centered. And then like so. And now I'll be able to turn it. And so let's see about this. I always like to get my brush wet with just plain water before I dip it in the latex. It's easier to clean it that way. So I'm gonna steady my hand on something. So I'm gonna steady my hand on this, and then I'm gonna turn, well, get that away from there. So you wanna be careful that you have enough stuff on your brush, but you don't want so much that you drip it onto there, because if you drip it, you'll have a little place, unless you refire it, bisque fire it, you'll have a little spot where the glaze won't take. So there. Now I'm just going to run the brush along this top edge, because I don't want, I can wipe that off with a sponge after I glaze it, but this will help keep it off of there. Okay, Let me hold that up so you can see it. I hope you can see that. Okay, let me tilt this up just a bit. Okay. So there, I hope you can see that. I need to put it lower right there, don't I? Now once it dries, that dark area right there is the wax. So we'll set that aside. We'll put this up here and we're going to do the outside, because the way this one fits, the lid fits down over this little lip right here. So, and yes, once it's waxed, you definitely will be able to put them together to be fired. So they'll be fired. Let me get this centered. They'll be fired with the lid in place. That is, it'll be on the bottom part. Okay, so let's see if I can do this. And yes, you want to get it down on that little ledge, because that's going to come in contact with the top part. So always brace your hand. Okay, now we're going to do that bottom part. Let's see if I can get out of my shadow here so that you can see what I'm doing. If you're not sure whether or not you put any somewhere, if it looks like you missed a spot, give it a few minutes to dry. And it turns darker when it dries, and you'll be able to see it. So don't get in too big of a hurry. All right, let's see if I got all the way around. Okay, and the same here, I'm not going to put the brush on the inside like I did on this, because I wanted the wax on this. I put the brush on it like this to do this upper edge. So it's okay to do the brush this way. Now on this one, because the wax is on the outside, I'm going to tilt my brush in the other way, in the other direction. So my brush is always going to be pointed towards the area that has the wax on it. There we go. So this is ready, except for the bottom. Now the bottom can be done the same way. If you want to brush on the wax, you can brush it on right down here, or you can dip this in the hot wax to have wax up to maybe that edge or to inside that crease. But either way, you can brush it or dip it on the very bottom. You know, since this has a foot cut in it, some of them don't have. Let's see. Most of them are just flat like this on the bottom, but for some reason, maybe because that one was thick, this one is just flat and thumbed off. That one's flat. Most of them are flat, but this one in particular, I trimmed a foot in it. So I may want to put some glaze in here, or some wax just around here and put some glaze in the center. But I rather doubt it, and the reason is this is very shallow. Very good chance that if I put glaze on this, it would stick to the kiln shelf. And the reason I say that is because when glaze is being fired, it sort of it sort of balloons out a little bit like a marshmallow when you're cooking a marshmallow, and then it shrinks back. So as it expands off of a real shallow foot like that, it probably would touch the kiln shelf and stick itself to it. So I don't want to take a chance on it doing that. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I'm going to put the dipped wax on the bottom of that one that I just brushed on. When you first turn on your wax that you have in a skillet, be sure to use some kind of an exhaust fan, like so. I know it's loud, and I'm turning it off just so that I can record without having to fight with that noise, but you should run that. I don't know for sure, but I doubt that it's very good for you to be breathing paraffin. So here's our little waxed around the contact areas. I better take that off and just set it aside while I'm doing this, and that way I can just grab hold of this if I don't burn myself. So this one has the little foot on the bottom, so I'm just going to wax the whole bottom. I'm not going to worry about the part that's on the interior. So it's kind of like that other video that I made. It's when you're waxing, I have my skillet tilted. So I'm on the beach, and this is the ocean, this is the beach up here. I'm going to ease my way into the water or the wax, and then I'm just going to turn it around so that at that spot, every bit of the bottom of that is going to reach that depth. Then I'm going to go back up to the beach. Ooh, I just got my hand up against that. And there you have it. So that's all that is necessary. I'm going to turn that back off. So you don't want to turn it upside down real quick to see if it, if it got everywhere. It's probably going to leave a little blank spot in the, we'll wait till it stops dripping, and so it probably has, and it does. It's got a little missing spot there, and I can just brush some liquid wax over that, or I can put a brush in here, but this kind of stuff ruins the brush. So I'll use the other kind of wax to just wax over that. So there you have it. This one with this with the latex glaze, the latex wax on the lid where the lid meets the bottom, and then the dipped wax on the very bottom. This one is ready to glaze.